computer. Okay. Hi, students. I wanted to provide you with an example of what it'll be like to do your intake session with a suicidal, to do a suicide assessment with your client. Just a reminder, this is just a basic intake. You probably won't be able to fill out all the form, and if you do, great, but it's not the purpose of this. It's really for you to have some embodied learning with feeling what it's like to ask somebody about, their suicidal thoughts and feelings. And just a heads up, my coworker is home with me today, so I will do my best to pretend as though I am, don't have a 2-year-old coworker, but if they say hello, just please allow for this to unfold, okay? All right, so, all right, so welcome, Mr. Smith. Did you find the counseling center okay? Get a place to park?
Yeah, it was a little difficult, but I did find my way, and I'm here today. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad you made it in. Again, my name is Abby Dougherty. I am a creative art therapist and counselor intern, and I'm going to be working with you today. I really want to gather a lot of information. It might feel like a little too much at times, like you might be like, oh, geez, this feels invasive. And I just want you to know that you are welcome to only share what you feel comfortable with. And I'm asking you this information because I really just want to have a complete view of you and what may be influencing what brought you in the door today. So before I get started into doing some of that kind of information, why don't we just get started? Have you ever been to counseling before?
No, this is my first time.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, I'm really, proud of you for having the courage to come in and just to explain a little bit about our process together. We'll meet today for about 35 minutes, and I'll do a general intake with you again, asking you a lot of questions, but you're welcome to interrupt me at any time. This is really your time, and I'm here to support you. I should let you know, as the intake person did over the phone, a little bit about informed consent, which is that I'm required by law, if you express that you're going to hurt somebody or yourself, that I have to break confidentiality. Otherwise, everything that we say is confidential. And if we were to end up in that place, it would be through, I would empower you and we would work on that together. But I just wanted to make sure before I really got started that you really understood the process and how much you'll be paying each session and sort of just, administrative kind of stuff. And if there were any questions I could clarify for you.
No, I think I understand. I think your office explained that.
Okay, great, great. So tell me a little bit about what brought you in today.
Well, I've just been feeling really sad. As you may know, I lost my partner, and I've just really been grieving.
Oh, that's an incredible loss. I mean, I can only imagine what you're feeling in this moment. Tell me a little bit about how you lost your partner. Was it recent?
Uh,
Were they ill or?
yeah, it was recent. She had developed breast cancer, and she was sick for a long time, and we had been together for many, many years. And then her illness got too great, and she passed away about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. So it's pretty recent.
It's recent.
Yeah. Yeah. How long were you and your partner together?
We were together about 15 years.
Wow. Wow. I mean, there's really, it's almost beyond words to be able to express that kind of loss. May I ask you how she passed?
She was just unable to eat and
Okay.
gradually just faded away.
Yeah. Oh, and there's nothing like the loss and grief of someone from a major illness, because there's this whole period where I'm sure that you were in a caretaker role and sort of the impending doom, as it were, and then to just even process, who am I in this moment without her? I can only imagine what that has been like for you. Are you? Let me just ask you a couple questions, if that's okay.
That's
Um,
okay.
Great, great. Are you eating okay? How are you sleeping? What's a typical day looking like for you since she has passed?
Well, I haven't had much energy. I
Mm,
get up in the morning and I just don't know what to do. I'm still feeling very sad, and it
yeah.
just seems like I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Don't know what you're going to do with yourself. Wow, that's pretty powerful. Um, hmm. I want to hold on to that for a second, but I just want to circle back here for a minute. And can you tell me a little bit about your family history? So, your parents, do you have any children? Who has this loss impacted?
um, my parents passed away many years ago, but I have one child who I rarely see.
Mm,
He lives on the West Coast, and I'd like to see him more often, but with this cancer, we didn't see each other very much. And
uh,
now that my partner's dead, I'm not connected really to anybody, and
mm, mhm.
I'm
Oof.
just not really sure what to do with myself.
Yeah, yeah, it feels very isolating. I mean, I can really feel that in my body, sort of like, ugh, I'm really stuck. I'm not connected. Did you have a good relationship with your child before, or it was just recently that you sort of lost contact because of, being in the caretaker role kind of a thing, or?
We were close at one time, and I think it was over this period of illness that some distance was created, and we just haven't talked in a long time.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, do you have, it sounds like your partner was your best friend. Tell me a little bit about, do you have any other friendships or important relationships in your life?
I did, but over the course of this illness, I think many of my friends and I lost touch.
Okay.
And I've been spending more and more time alone.
Mm,
And it's getting more and more difficult for me to go outside and even go food shopping. So it's been a hard time. It's been a hard time.
oh, wow. I'm just feeling the immensity of that statement, just being how alone and isolating that must be in this time where you're really grieving a lot. How are you spending that time?
Um, I read a little bit sometimes, and
Okay.
if I have the energy, I'll turn on the television. But that's about it.
Okay. Um, are you, just sort of thinking about the immensity of this impact? And I'm just curious, like, have you been drinking at all or using any substances or anything like that?
Um, Sometimes I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I will drink to sleep. Uh,
Yeah.
but in the middle of the night, it gets more difficult because I always awake and I don't know what to do. I feel very confused.
Yeah. Waking up feeling confused. Uh, do you have that sort of connects to this next question I have for you? Do you have any prior mental health history? Has your doctor or anybody else given you any kind of diagnosis?
People in my family really didn't ever see anybody
Mhm.
if we were in trouble with our minds. So
Mm.
um, I haven't had that experience. My doctor gave me an antidepressant, but it doesn't seem to be working. And I'm
Mm.
just really losing some hope about what the future could be for me.
Oh, wow, that's losing hope. Even as I say that out loud right now, um, that feels, like you're sort of feeling pretty stuck. And I'm just curious, are you having any thoughts about harming yourself in any way, or even thinking
Some
about suicide?
sometimes it just feels as though these days life just isn't really worth living anymore. When my partner died, it's sort of like my life ended.
I understand that. I mean, uh, you know, we really believe as counselors that our relationships in our lives define our wellness. And so, it sounds, you sound pretty isolated, and I'm really concerned uh, that, the impact on you, and um, sort of thinking about these thoughts that you're having. How often are you having the thoughts?
Uh, I don't really track it, but
Yeah,
it seems like I'm feeling this way now every day.
every day. You mentioned that you are waking up in the middle of the night. When was the last time you had a good night's sleep?
Oh, it's been months. It's really been months. I just find that I can't sleep anymore. Um, I
Ugh, that can
really,
make you feel so nuts. Yeah,
I feel very anxious at night, and I feel somewhat lost and scared. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure what to do next.
Right.
Sometimes it just feels as though life is too hard, and I'm not sure why I'm still living.
Oh, that's powerful. I mean, to feel at the point that you can't even sort of be here is telling of just how much suffering you're really in right now. So I'm really glad that you took this first step to reach out and come in and talk to somebody about it. Um, I as I'm listening to you, I'm curious. Do you keep any weapons or anything, any guns or anything like that in the home?
No, we don't have any weapons in our home.
Okay, okay, that's good to hear. Because it sounds like you're really suffering, and we have this term in counseling. It's called suicidal ideation, which is just jargon for saying, like, I'm feeling like I might not be able to live anymore. And I'm hearing some of that as we're sort of reviewing some of what's going on for you. uh, I'm just curious. I want to just take a pause here, and it's going to feel like a major leap. So just bear with me. This is all sort of part of the intake process. I'm curious about what you did even prior to losing your partner in terms of what did you do socially? What did you do in terms of, caring for yourself, even minimally? Do you exercise? That kind of thing.
We used to have a really good time together. We would go out, we would go on hikes.
Okay.
But
Okay.
since her death, I really haven't done very much.
Mm.
I just feel as though I can't leave my home and feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
That
but we have
anxiety.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
But in your older age, sometimes you lose touch with people.
Yeah.
And I just find that I am alone a lot of the time. And
Mm.
it's just very sad, very sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are social animals. And so, even the most introverted of us need to have some kind of connection where we can feel, excited and validated and want to be with another person more. So I think, even as we're working through this together, I'm feeling like that might end up being one of our goals. But since I'm hearing that you have some history of anxiety. It sounds like you may be dealing, with normative grief, but I'm concerned, for the length of period of time that you've been experiencing this, that you might also be having some depression. And, I am just wondering if, um, uh, what we might be able to do. So let me take a pause here. I would love to just have a contract between the two of us. That's okay. And just, Carla, if you would agree that between now and next week, we're going to work through some ways that you can, begin to what we call in counseling self-regulate or heal, and help you to hold that grief and do it in a new way. We're going to look at new coping skills, and find some ways so that you don't have to suffer, especially alone, because we humans don't do well in these situations. But I love it because I am a counselor. I'm concerned about how you're feeling, and would you consider contracting with me just verbally right now, that you will not engage in any form of self-harm between now and the next session? Does that feel like something you would be able to agree to, at least initially?
When would our next session be?
I was thinking next Monday, so in a week. Would you be able to hold on for a week?
I think I could.
Okay.
I think I could agree to that. Although I've been really feeling very sad at night. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what I'll do, but I can agree to this contract.
Okay. I appreciate that because it just gives us a place to start with one another, where we can have a foundation of safety. And that's going to provide us with the space that you're going to need to really work through some of this grief and develop some new coping skills. Uh, when your partner was still alive, what did y'all like to do for fun? How did you take care of yourself? How did you experience joy?
We like to cook together and dance and just have a good time around the house. And
Ah,
we were very
okay.
close and we were really good friends.
Yeah, yeah. Really, it's so nice to have that level of friendship, where you really
It
felt
is.
heard and seen by another person.
Yeah, it's so hard to not have it anymore. I just, it's so painful.
Yeah, um, it is really painful. It is really painful. I think one of the aspects of grief that makes it so difficult is that, while we are open to talking about physical illness in our society, mental illness is something that we typically, feelings we don't typically share with one another, right? So, I can only imagine you kind of sitting here, are you having any what we call intrusive thoughts? So thoughts where you just sort of feel like all of a sudden you're thinking about aspects of your partner passing and kind of can't shut it off. I'm
Yes, I've had that actually quite a bit. It's
mhm.
hard for me to turn off my mind. I think that's why it's so hard to sleep at night.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're not sleeping well, sleep is so intimately connected to feeling less anxious and less depressed, and giving your body the space it needs to heal. But it's hard to do that when you have a lot of trauma, and trauma is first felt in the body. Um, so, I'm also just thinking about some things, little things that you might be able to do between now and the next time that we meet and can really dive in to developing some coping skills. What is one or two things that we might be able to sort of build into your life as temporary relief? So, I'll just give you an example. When I've had clients dealing with a lot of depression in the past, I've asked them to go for just a walk around the block once a day. Because I know, when you're in that state of mind, even doing a walk around the block once can feel like a pretty major chore. And so I'm just curious if something like that might be something you would consider.
Uh, I think I could do that. I could walk around the block.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
just once a day and kind of do you have a spiritual practice at all or religion or
No, I really don't.
okay.
We just didn't get into that in my family.
Hmm. Hmm. I completely understand. Yeah, absolutely. And I also think of spirituality as just sort of like a larger term for taking good care of oneself, and that really just involves taking, some deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I want to encourage you to just do some slow breathing while you take a really slow walk, just really gentle walk, observing maybe different flowers or different things about your neighborhood, and just helping yourself to sort of come back to the moment again. Because the magnitude of the loss of losing someone that you've been your best friend for 15 years, you know, even I need to take a deep breath as I say that, because that's gonna you're gonna feel that for a while. And sometimes we say in our work, how can we suffer well? And it doesn't mean that we're not going to work on ways for you not to experience suffering, but just to sort of reduce the impact of the suffering will help you to start to build a little resilience, and help you figure out sort of what this loss will mean for you as you go forward. And I'd love to hear more about your partner and sort of the good times together. This is sort of, some of the things I thought we might talk about together as we begin to work and sort of build this larger picture about how this experience has impacted you.
Yeah.
Tom, Carl, sorry about that. I just was looking at another note. I just have a couple more questions for you, and then we'll just wrap up for today. We do a lot of creative interventions within our counseling practice. And I know that you mentioned that dance is an area, something that you really enjoy. And I was just also curious if, art or music is an important part of your life in any way.
Yeah, I love listening to music, and I
Ah,
occasionally make things at home.
okay. Okay.
I do
Awesome.
get, I used to get a lot of joy from that.
Mm. What kind of things did you make?
I made all kinds of things out of glass, and I
Oh,
learned to do that as a young man, and I think I'd like to just try that again, maybe.
glass is a wonderful medium, and such a good metaphor for life, because it's quite beautiful, but it breaks easily, and you can recycle every part of it to make something even more beautiful.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that even as we're talking about and exploring your experience of losing your partner, that some of these creative tools might become an important part of our work. So I appreciate your willingness to tell me a little bit about this. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Um, let's see. So just to wrap us up for today, it sounds like you came in because you've been, struggling with the loss of your partner. I've, sort of reviewed some of the basic intake information, and we'll continue to do this work together. And I can hear you're really feeling quite a bit of suffering. Not doesn't sound like you have any kind of plan to harm yourself, but we're gonna just have a contract together so that we can keep you safe and get you moving towards a healing approach. That between now and next week, you'll just take one walk a day to help you to regulate. And then just one other piece to this. Outside of me, which I just want you to know, I have an answering service, and you are welcome to call my line and just leave messages, or you can send emails. The deal is, though, that they're only responded to between 9 and 5. But I do know that some clients feel like, when something comes up, that sometimes just having the ability to express oneself can help to alleviate the moment. So you're welcome to email, or I would really encourage you also to keep a journal, so that when you're waking up and you're having these wakeful moments at night, that we can start to understand them a little bit more. That you might just consider writing down some of what seems to be popping into your mind, even if it's just sort of gobbledygook, because you're tired. But it'll give us a place to begin with each other when we meet next week.
Okay.
Does
I
that
will
feel
try
okay
that.
for you?
Yeah, I think I could try that.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming in today. This was an excellent session. I'm really looking forward to working with you. And again, I just want to thank you for your bravery and courage for coming in, because it's just such a loss to lose your partner. And I hope this to begin some healing and wellness for you. And I look forward to our work together.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, great. I'll see you next week.
Okay, I'll write it in my book.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.